I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you. And we will proceed to number 3 on the agenda, and that is public comment. I did not have anybody approach me or the clerk, and so we'll move on to item number 4, an approval of the March 9th, 2023 Executive Committee meeting minutes. What is your pleasure? Motion by Supervisor Langenhahn, seconded by Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion on the meeting minutes as presented in the packet? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the approval of the March 9th, 2023 Executive Committee meeting minutes as presented in the packet, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to the policy issue discussion and potential committee determination. And item 5A, discussion and possible action by exec authorization of a MOU for opioid litigation settlements. I would I'd offer up to Mike, Corp Counsel, to please explain what you have in the packet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as everyone is likely aware, we have been a participant in the ongoing litigation with various opioid manufacturers, distributors, pharmacies. Our counsel has reached out to us regarding 2 memoranda of understanding that they're seeking to have executed before April 18th, I believe, 18th or 19th. The reason for these memoranda is to ensure that potential settlement payments from Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, Teva, and Allergan would be able to be further distributed to us through the state of Wisconsin through the existing structure of distribution for opioid settlement funds. So they are engaged in settlement negotiations with these companies. They're at a point where they've reached a settlement. They need our go-ahead to say, yes, we would like to be a part of the distribution so that they can move forward and finalize the settlement. I've reviewed the MOUs. They're identical to previous MOUs that we've signed for previous settlements in this same litigation. So they don't have any additional bells and whistles or obligations, but they would allow us to participate in these settlements, which I think would be beneficial. So from my analysis, they look fine. Our counsel is recommending that we execute these so that we can be part of this next round of settlement payments as well.
Any questions? Just so everyone understands, right now that portion or those individuals have a tentative agreement of roughly $20 billion nationally in that settlement, and then the state would receive their proportionate share, and the state has state statute that already stipulates 70% of any settlement coming to the state goes to the county and the several municipalities that are already part of this litigation. And so Marathon County would be just another portion of that. So, questions? Vice Chair McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one question. With all the names of the different counties and villages, do they all have to sign this, or if some don't, then they're just not in the payment? Or
Right. This is gone. I mean, this has been discussed at the WCA Monday morning weekly calls, and all of the municipalities have to sign on to the memorandum. So yes, that's all being done at this time. It has to be done by April 18th. So that's yes.
Thank you.
Supervisor Langenhahn.
I don't know if it's in that executive summary or from the memo from the law firm further down, but it said something about the more counties, the more entities that sign up for this, the greater the distribution of the payment. Why is that?
I'll Corp Counsel, go ahead.
So the defendants in this case are engaging in settlement negotiations with the understanding that the more entities that they settle with in one settlement, the less likely it is that they get sued in the future by those entities. So they're trying to, for lack of a better term, buy down their own risk. So the more people that participate, the more they're willing to settle at a higher amount to all of those individuals so that then they're later on not having the liability carried out. So it's kind of we'll pay more now to try to pay less later. I would say that's likely their analysis.
And understand that is pertaining to other states, because the state of Wisconsin has in statute already precluded any additional municipalities from joining in litigation of the like. So but it's not more targeted at the state of Wisconsin, but it's targeted at the rest of the nation, where they don't have that kind of legislation preempting additional municipalities from joining into litigation. Supervisor Robinson.
I would move that we authorize the participation in the MOU for this opioid settlement.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Supervisor Mask, motion was by Supervisor Robinson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to authorize the appropriate individuals to exercise the MOUs on the opioid litigation settlements signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 5B, a discussion and possible action by the Executive Committee to forward to the County Board for its consideration adoption of the strategic plan. The reason that this is back on the agenda for the Exec Committee to look at, when we approved last month the strategic plan and the changes as presented in the packet, it did not have the ERC's proposed changes. I know this committee had talked about the ERC's proposed changes and had basically somewhat accepted them and not had any direction to ERC to send it back. But be that as it may, it wasn't in the packet, and therefore I don't believe it was actually voted on by this committee to forward to the full board, and it also was not in the full board's packet. So the ERC changes were not in the full board packet, and that's why I pulled it off of the full board's packet for action last month. So it's back now with ERC's changes in it, and for action to whatever the board's will or the committee's will is to forward to the executive or full board if that's their desire. Supervisor Langenhan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd move that we forward the strategic plan as presented in our packet today for the upcoming county board meeting. Thank you.
Motion by Supervisor Langenhan, second by Supervisor Robinson. Any further discussion? Supervisor Dickinson, please.
I just want to make the one comment that I am in agreement to forward it on. I will vote yes, but I am not in agreement with the items, certain items in the plan. So just to be clear, my vote here is to move it forward to the full board because it's time for us to act. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Van Craig.
My microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want clarification about the items that are listed as deemed complete. So all of those items that are listed as deemed complete, did the other committees determine that those are removed from the plan, or are they staying in the plan as is with that parentheses? Just because Health and Human Services, our intention was to remove the items deemed complete, but they were listed in this as just deemed complete. So is this just a formatting?
Yeah, I think they were, they are deemed complete and they're left in the plan as deemed complete because this was an update to the plan.
I'll probably put a check mark on the box next to it just to show that you had wanted something done and it's done.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to move to the full board for its consideration, the strategic plan update. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries, thank you, and we will move on. Get back to the agenda. And the next item on the agenda, 6, operational function required by statute, ordinance, resolution, or policy. Historical Society walking tour of the county courthouse on Sunday, May 21st. I will turn it over to the administrator for his discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I will aim to be brief. This is something that is not normally on your agenda, but set some context. The sheriff's office and the administrator are both vested with shared authority relative to access to the courthouse outside of normal business hours. We had a request from the Historical Society to have a tour of the courthouse as part of a walking tour that they're having starting on the 400 block to show where the old courthouse was and tie in some very interesting history, stories of criminal justice cases. They also want to incorporate the courthouse because if you haven't been in our courtrooms, particularly courtroom 1, we have pictures of all of the judges going back to the 1800s of, some of them are portraits, of course, but the Historical Society would like to come in, walk people through, tell some of those very interesting stories. We also have some books in the courthouse, an attorney roll that has signatures back from every attorney, at least is supposed to, that's practiced law in Marathon County since the 1890s. We have jail logs that show individual bookings going back again to the 1800s, early 1900s. So I spoke with the sheriff. He has money in his budget, staff within his budget to take this on, to staff it for a couple of hours on that day, May 21st. I put it on because unlike the sheriff who is elected and can do a lot of things, I work for the board and I report to this committee to take direction. If you order me not to do this, I will make that clear that I'm unwilling to, I don't think we should move in this direction. That said, it strikes me as a nice opportunity to highlight the contributions of local government in our history. So that's why it's here before you. If you choose to take action, you can do that, but it's not required.
Questions? Supervisor Robinson.
I would move to authorize the walking tour on May 21st.
Is there a second? There's motion. Second by Supervisor Seefeld. Any discussion? Vice Chair McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is a great idea, too. Was there any estimate as far as what it was going to cost the Sheriff's Department and any other departments that are going to have to be in the building? Do we know that at all?
Yes, the sheriff's office, I spoke with Sheriff Billab. His estimate on the high end, if he was unable to use part-time staff, was maximum of about $520. And I don't anticipate any other needs for county staff. 2 of the judges, the Historical Society has already talked to them about having access to their courtroom, so they're making those arrangements. And as I understand it, it was reported to me that the judges were supportive.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to authorize the Historical Society walking tour of the courthouse on Sunday, May 21st to 2023, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried and is unanimous. Thank you. Educational presentation and committee discussion, none. Next meeting date and time and announcements and future agenda items. The committee members are asked to bring ideas for future discussions. And next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 11th, 2023 at 3 p.m. Any announcements? Okay, we are down to item number 9. Motion by Vice Chair McEwen to adjourn. Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Langenhan. Any discussion on, seeing none, all those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We stand adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.